Hey, what's going on, my beautiful people? This is your certified life and relationship coach, Coach Court. In today's live session, we're going to talk about what went wrong. Why did they leave you? Let's talk about it. All right. I'm going to give you guys some time to get in here. I got some talking points here today. I actually did my homework. I actually started to realize that I should probably be preparing for these live sessions and stuff because I typically don't. I usually just shoot from the hip, but I got some talking points here today. Happy Friday. I figured this would be something that'll be fruitful for you to go into the weekend with. And honestly, I enjoy talking to you guys. So let's talk about it. Let me know who you are, where you're from. Thank you for all the new subscribers. I see you. I'm watching you. I see that you guys are coming in, you're engaged, and you're becoming a valuable person in the community. Thank you. And I really got to get some music on this live. It'd be kind of cool. Glenn, what's up, man? Don't know why she left me because she dumped the guy she was seeing after 3 months. I suspect monkey branching. I got a list here for you, Glenn. Stick around. Let's talk about this. You figured it out. Not a lot of people can figure it out. Usually people are starting pointing fingers. You know the little Spider-Man meme when they're like, you. Yeah, let's figure it out. Let's get down to the root of it. Let's really solve this thing. Hold on a minute. Let me make sure that I have my right mic on. Boom. That should be better, huh? Hopefully that sound is better. Hey, Heather. All right. LDN. Oh, London. Is that London? X regrets the rebound, apologetic, saying she's slowly leaving the situation and messages me constantly. Well, they say over in is that Japan? Sayonara? Yeah, maybe sayonara. Thanks for playing. But, you let them go with love. I was just reading a quote about that from R.M. Drake. And it said, when somebody decides to leave you, hold the door open and wish them well. I mean, that's the best way that you can do it. That's the most energetic, the most healthy energy you can give off, and the most loving way to say goodbye. I wrote a quote here. Whoop. Yeah, let's break my phone here. I wrote a quote on Instagram. If you guys aren't following me, it's I am Coach Court. And the quote I wrote goes, bitter will have you double guessing the foods you try. Carrying that mindset will also have you double guessing future relationships. I'll read that again. Bitter will have you double guessing the foods that you try. Carrying that mindset will also have you double guessing future relationships. Now, do you want to be a bitter person? Do you want to be someone that goes on dates, goes into courtships with like this jaded view and this bitter mindset? I don't think you do, because you're not going to give that person an authentic chance. You're not going to be able to be genuine in the way that you're showing up, in the way that you, portray yourself. I guess you'll have these walls up, and they'll realize it. Usually, when people pick up on that energy, especially women, they start to think that you're not over your ex, and they start to get a little bit apprehensive about even pursuing anything with you. I'm guilty of it as a coach. People that I coach, they're guilty of it too. So I get it. And I'm here with you in your experience. So let me get to serving you guys. All right. So I have 5 talking points here. All right. They all came back. Know your self-worth. See ya. Sayonara. She sent me a pic of her nails. All right, Albert. So yeah, it's just kind of how it works, man. It's kind of how it works. And it's improving yourself and becoming the best version of yourself is what makes them come back. And a little bit of familiarity, but there are people who just want to seek that validation from you, because I hear all the time what people are saying, yeah, this guy just isn't doing it, or this girl, she doesn't know how to do this XYZ like you do, or she can't cook, or all that. And that's what they miss. But you have to remove yourself from the situation in order to make that happen. All right. So first thing, let's talk about it. Why did they leave you? I know people like to, like I said, that Spider-Man meme. Okay, let's really break this down to a fundamental, granular level. I have 5 reasons I believe that usually people leave you, especially if they go on to another person. And when it comes to women in particular, they are mostly fed up, but that's later on. I'm not going to get to that right now. 3 likes. Yeah, come on, y'all. Get the likes up for me. I want you guys to help me out. Help me help you. Because what this does is it triggers the analytics, and it lets them know that, hey, Coach Court is here trying to deliver some value. So get as many people in here as possible so you all can interact, get the analytics jumping. And then the more people that comes in here and communicates and share their story, the better off you guys will be. So if you just get the likes up to let YouTube know, then we're good. So I'm not going to get to my talking points until you guys help me out. All right. Let me see where I got to go first, though. It's a process. I don't know if you guys have ever ran a YouTube channel or if you guys are familiar with it, but it's a process to run, good live sessions and to get authentic engagement. All right, so now they leave because they think the grass is greener. Yeah, well, Michelle. Yeah, it's. I wrote a quote about that too, Chris. I talked about that. Well, the grass is always going to be greener when it's artificial turf. Always, because it's not real. All right, so the first thing, usually what I see when people get left, especially if it's dealing with someone under the age of 25, it's because that person hasn't matured and that person is young. All right, they're just young. And if you guys aren't familiar with the study that they did about, or like, I don't know, it's probably a fact that people under the age of 25, their brain hasn't even matured completely yet, which means the front lobe hasn't even connected completely to the rear lobe, which is why you see a lot more risk taking. You see them doing things. I went to a training maybe like 7 years ago, something like that, 6 or 7 years ago. And it showed like this YouTube video of a guy jumping out of a tree. And he was like a 19, 20-year-old. And we're looking in like, oh, like he's not about to do this, is he? And he did. Of course he did. He broke his leg. But he said that the reason why he did that is because the risk taking and their decisiveness is their impulsivity is very high around that age. So when you're dealing with someone that's younger, under the age of 25, they're going to be doing things that doesn't quite make sense to you. If you're like a 30-year-old, you're going to be looking like, probably shouldn't be getting into a relationship with that guy, or you probably shouldn't be doing it. But is that the reason? Is it young age? Were they just immature? Ask yourself that question. I haven't even eaten breakfast yet, so I've been working all morning. So pardon me. You hear my stomach growling. My bad. All right. Artificial turf. Yes. So is that it? Is it the young age? Because I can tell you, there's certain behaviors that you'll typically see before the age of 25. I would even say up until the age of 27, because give or take, there's certain things that can really skew that age, that maturity, like different traumas or just a person's upbringing too can also make that age, it's kind of slide on a scale there. So it may not even be 25. Don't quote me here. This is just what I've learned and things that I've observed. All right. That's the first one. I'm trying for my betting picks. It's tough starting YouTubes. Yeah, it is tough. It's a lot of work. Like I really had to study the analytics and I had to study what people liked about me and what they wanted to see from me. Because the YouTube channels, it's you. People don't come here for anything else but because of me and what I have to say. And if you're just doing things because you want to do it, and that's the biggest mistakes people make, is they make content because, hey, I just enjoy doing it. No, you have to make what people want to see from you, or else they're not going to want to see it. All right, so get the likes up, everyone. Franco, what's up, brother? 29 is still a young age. Yeah, 20. It's still young. It's still young. But Okay, so there's this thing, this concept, if we're talking about women in particular, and sometimes men too. There's that 29-year-old, the 29 age, when they hit this epiphany. They have this epiphany where they're like, I don't know if I really want to do this. I don't know if this is the direction I want to be going in life. And I see this with a lot of people who are not, happy in their career. They're not happy. And this is something that Tony Robbins talked about, the seven areas of life. If they're not happy in their career, if they're not happy in with their body, they're not happy with their relationship, their parenting skills, they start to feel like, well, I need to change something like right now. Especially if they're going their rebound and they're like, I need to change, something needs to happen right now. Otherwise, I'm not going to feel fulfilled. But then they'll be looking back, hindsight, like, that was a poor decision. The person that has like 14 pairs of shoes in their closet, the same color, and they like, man, I don't even wear those shoes. And it's like, now that's I digress on that one. All right. That's a deeper conversation. Mine was 28, now 29. Morning Court was the other way around, where the younger girl got emotionally involved. Yes, absolutely. 28 is young. 28 is young. It's, as a man who's about to push 40, 28 is young. All right, the second thing. So first was young age. The second thing is, in this topic of why did they leave you? Did you notice that they had some type of trauma? All right. Now, I was listening to, I listen to stuff all day long, podcasts. I probably read a book every other day, where I'm constantly listening for, listen to books. Something just happened. Sorry, I got kind of confused there. Trauma. I listen to a lot of things about trauma. I was listening to a podcast on the Lewis Howes School of Greatness show, and also I was listening to Jordan Peterson, and a lot of things revolve around trauma. It's literally a lot of things. Childhood development. I got I'm trauma informed. I don't know if you guys are aware of what that is. I talked about this in my last video, but didn't get a lot of views. But so I'm going to bring it here now. I don't know if you guys have heard of trauma-informed care or anything about the ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. If you guys are interested in that, go to the website aces2high.com. I'm going to put that up here. aces2high.com. And there's 10 questions. Take the test to kind of assess the levels of trauma that you experienced as a kid. And it's kind of remarkable, the research that they've done on that, because it shows that people who experience childhood trauma, it affects you in every area of your life. Like even later on, that trauma gets stored in your body, and it turns into things like cancer, depression, heart attacks, all type of just different areas, diabetes, different diseases that can come out of trauma. Because when you activate that fight or flight, when your heart starts to race, after a while, it becomes maladaptive. It starts to break. So instead of helping you out and getting you that release of adrenaline to, make the decision that you need to make, if you continuously do it, it's going to start to turn toxic and turn into something lethal. So that's what trauma is. And it's so interesting. Like, I just eat this stuff up because it's like, it's everything. If you sat down and actually studied, why things happen this way, feel free to give me some super chat money too. Tip your boy if you're thinking this is valuable. And keep commenting. It really breaks your system. So when it comes to having a healthy relationship, if you're living in this traumatized state, what can you do? I mean, this whole channel was built around attachment styles. And a lot of the attachment styles, the whole theory is based on, what did you experience from the age 0 to 7 and further on? Because I don't think trauma stops. Trauma continuously stops. When I was mentoring kids, the part of the reason why I took like joy in doing it was because I had this belief, and I did this for like 14 years, that at-risk youth turn into at-risk adults. You just age out of the system. Just because you turn 18 doesn't mean that the things that you experienced and the way that the thing, the way that you operate is going to change. If anything, is only going to get worse. It's going to get hard and solidified. So I'm a firm believer that if you're in a relationship with somebody, it's important to know their traumas, and you can't ignore it. You cannot ignore it. And people say, I'm going to love this person even harder. I'm going to give them everything that they need. So they want to be with me for the rest of their life. But it doesn't happen that way. Like I talked about in the last video, it's, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. And we have this idea that, if I give them more of something that they never had, they're going to change for me and I'm going to heal them, but it's not possible. It's not possible. So they need to do the work themselves. I don't care how many books you read and how many, podcasts you listen to, how many lectures you go to. It's not going to help heal them. It's not going to help them become a better person or make them want to, show up better in the relationship. It's just not possible. East Africa. Nice. I think any type of long-term or stress manifests itself into. Absolutely. It's going to, that stuck energy, that trauma. It's just, this is why when people come back from serving overseas or being in the military and they struggle with PTSD or some type of post-traumatic stress, like they don't even know why it's happening. It's just certain sights, certain smells, certain situations, certain times of the day. It just triggers something inside them, like, I need to immediately get out of here, or what's happening here? This is I feel unsafe. And you can't ignore that. So the first two things, why they leave you? Was it because they were young and immature? Because then the risk taking is going to be, that much higher. Two, what level of trauma did they have? Did they tell you about the trauma? Did you ignore the trauma? Which is going to lead me to the next one. You started slacking. All right, let's put this lens back on you now. You started slacking and you stopped showing up the way that you were showing up in the beginning. Because usually when I hear, women break up with guys, they have, at some point, they got off their purpose. They stopped showing up the way that they did before. It's like the hunt, the chase stopped. If you guys are in here, give me a like. We have, okay. All right. Give me a like. They started slacking. They stopped showing up the way that they were before. May have made some false promises that never came to fruition. The future faking and some of the things. And I get it. No, we do get complacent in relationships. Everyone does. Even as a coach, I've gotten complacent. Especially when you have like a mission or a purpose. You have this like this tunnel vision on your goal. And men are worse. Men are the worst at it. But honestly, the way the culture is changing, women are getting like that too. You're starting to see a lot of women that has a lot more masculine energy, and they're goal oriented, and they're not wanting families, and they're not wanting to settle down and have kids. And I don't know what the reason is behind that. I mean, it could be because they may have experienced some traumas as a kid, and a lot of the women that I work with that are fearful avoidance, they tell themselves, "I'm not bringing a kid into this world. Like I'm not putting them through the same level of traumas that I went to." So maybe that's the reason. You started slacking, stop listening. A lot of men don't listen. I mean, if I'm being honest, I've coached a lot of people now, and that's the number one complaint is, he stopped listening to me. I was telling him the problem the whole entire time, and he stopped listening. I've coached people where, the things were kind of on the rocks, and the guy would come to me and say, I want to turn this around. And I'm saying, all right, well, what is she telling you? And he'll just be saying, well, a lot of times she's saying this, whatever, X, Y, Z. And I'm like, okay, well, you need to listen, because I'm going to tell you what the next steps is going to happen. She's going to either step out on you, or she's going to lose respect for you, and she's going to stop loving you. And, I may get a session booked 6 months later, and they're saying, things really turn toxic. Really, I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to say I told you so, but there's only so many things that can happen. Once you study human behavior and some of the patterns that happen, there's nothing new under the sun. Like read the Bible. The Bible is basic instruction before leaving Earth. Everything that's written in there has already been done. And once you start to study that, and you start to realize just how people operate, it's like it's almost like a life hack. I don't know if you want to call it like your third eye awakening, or if you had to have a deeper intuition, but it definitely does strengthen your intuition. And that's why I tell people to meditate. I feel like meditation is huge, because if you meditate it, it really sharpens your intuition, which means if you have a strong intuition, your anxiety will never be able to take autopilot anymore. And if it does, you'll be able to get it in check. Because most things that people are concerned about and get nervous about, or worry about, is anxiety. It's unchecked anxiety. But when you have that intuition, it's a deeper feeling. Like they say that, I think over in the Chinese culture, your gut instinct is real. Like it's like all knowing. When you have a gut feeling about something and you don't follow it, you usually make a mistake. But usually, if your gut is right, your gut is right. So I thought that was super interesting when I learned about that one. Ignore the red flags. That's the next one. So you got young age. You guys are coming in here. I see new people. Get the likes up. If you're on Facebook, I want you guys to do me a favor. Come over to YouTube. I have a link in there. Click that link. Come over here and like and get the feed up, so we can start some healing in here, and I can start making this as valuable as possible for you. So true. I was giving my FA everything, hoping my love would cure her. It's not possible, Jack. It's not possible. Unless they do the work themselves, it's really a fool's errand. So don't even, it's almost like you have to put this person in the place that you know is going to best serve both of you guys. So if you know that you can't give them more love, because they're not going to want to change, they're not going to want to go to therapy. They may even cringe at a personal development book. And if you mention something like, Lewis Howes or whoever, they'll be like, basically like, meh, or cringe at it even. I mean, some people don't want to change. They don't want to realize that something needs to change within them, because we always want to know, as human beings, we want to know who's at fault. Even after something tragic happens, even the justice system, like, we want someone to blame. We want someone to take the fall, to take the rap, in order to make us feel better. And it's hard for people to look in the mirror and point at themselves and say, you know what? You're to blame. So ignoring the red flags is the fourth one. What red flags did you ignore? Because people are going to tell you exactly who they are. And it's up to you to take them at their word. Because we feel, I don't know if we're just like caught up in like the honeymoon, or we just, we have some unhealed things inside of us that feels like, because I know a lot of people who are, someone that's like anxious, preoccupied like me, and I'm in recovery. I'm in recovery. I'm becoming more secure. But I used to think that my self-worth was tied up into what I can do for other people, and how much pain I can go through to prove to them that, hey, or how much pain, or how much toxic behavior, how many toxic behaviors, or whatever you want to call it, how much I can put up with is going to help them understand that I'm here for the long run. I had a guy, I think it might have been Jack, sent me this video this morning. It was really cool. It was really cool. I don't know if I want to play this right now or not, but it kind of was talking about that too. Along those same lines, you can stick around if you want to, but after a while, you just start to hurt yourself, because sometimes your intuition is going to tell you, right, this isn't going to go the distance. If you keep sticking around, you're just going to be doing more harm and more damage to yourself. And we don't want to listen to that. We don't want to believe that. Like I said, certain people, we have this need to be needed. And even if that person is treating us horrible, at some point we made a pact. And I see this a lot of times when people are dealing with someone who's narcissistic, because narcissists, they have a good, they do a good job of kind of like covertly training you on how they want you to act. So if you first meet them and they say, I really value communication, I really value someone who's loyal, and then you're like, okay, and then they give you all these stories about their past, about, oh, this happened to me in the past and that happened to me in the past. So you're like, wow, from this day on, I vow to never do that to you. Like, this is my pact. I'm never going to do that to you. I'm never going to forsake you. And then they go on to proceed and do the same exact thing that they told you that they valued in their spouse, which is, it's brilliant, but it's definitely, it's malicious. And it's, they're telling you, that's the projection. They're telling you something that they can't do themselves. But because, narcissistic people, they're people collectors, and they're people who, that part's gone. I'm not even going to, that's a whole deeper conversation. So recap, if you guys are coming in here and you haven't liked the feed, I would appreciate you. Woo, the likes are up. I appreciate that. All right, so let me check in here. I'm just rambling. So was it a young age? So here's 4, right? Were they young? And if you haven't seen it, if you haven't been here long enough, go back and recap. Were they young? Did they have trauma? Which everyone has trauma. Everyone has trauma. Like, you can't. I got that website right there. Go check go take the test and see how many traumas you have. I actually had someone tell me that they had 0 traumas, and I said, that's not possible. You would have to be, even when Jesus was on earth, he had trauma. I mean, we all have traumas. We all do. And it'd be silly to think that you don't. So trauma, did you start slacking? Did you ignore the red flags? I guess that kind of is tied into slacking, because you always be alert and have your eyes open and seeing where you're going, especially in your relationship. All right, and the last one is, were you the rebound? How long did this person take time to be alone? What did they do before they got into a relationship with you? Because rebounds, you guys, and I've talked about this in plenty of my videos, rebounds can last anywhere from well, they usually fail within the first 30 days, but 90 days. But they can last for a long time. They can last up to 2 years before they become toxic situations. And what I mean by toxic is that this person isn't healthy for you. I mean, your family members are telling you, your friends are telling you. They're showing behaviors that is really not preferable in a relationship, but you stick with it anyway. And I think a lot of people stick with relationships because they just don't want to be wrong, especially if it was a rebound. They have to prove to everyone that, all right, what I did, this decision that I made, it's valid, and you're not going to tell me how to live my life. It's unhealthy, because one of the most valuable gifts you can give anyone in this world is your time. So if you're giving someone your time and they're abusing it, and it's not going to go anywhere, I mean, but think about it. Divorce rates are at 51%. So it doesn't matter if they're toxic or not. Eventually, it's a really daunting thing to look at the marriage statistics. And I'm not saying that you can't have a healthy marriage that goes a long time, but it takes 2 people that are healed, 2 healed people that are going to be able to make that work. So why did they leave you? Can you honestly ask yourself, why did they leave you? And if the reason was you, what is it that you have to do to, show a better, improve yourself? And this was something that Jordan Peterson was talking about. And I thought it was super cool, because I agreed. I was totally on the same, as someone that does this every single day, I was totally on the same train that he was on. And he's been doing it for decades. He was saying there's a community that really gets upset about, women being choosy and women not wanting to pick certain men. And he's like, well, you just got to be a better man. You just have to show up better. What is it about you that you need to change in order to make this not an issue? Because people who have this abundance mindset, they also have other key characteristics about themselves that will give them that abundance opportunity. Because when you have that scarcity mindset, and this is all, I don't know if this is on brand for me, but I love what I do anyway. So I'm just gonna, and I like to just give people information. when you have that scarcity mindset, that's when you get into this tunnel vision. I mean, it can be a good thing too if you apply it in the right areas of your life, like work. That's one thing about, when I started this relationship coaching thing, I was like, I have a goal, and I don't know if I'm going to let anything stop me from reaching that goal. I'm not going to veer from the left and the right, especially when I started to get feedback from people and they started to say, well, yeah, this is your purpose. This is what you need to continue to do. So sure, I had a scarcity mindset. Like I want to be one of the best coaches that ever was. I mean, and I don't know if that's me studying Kobe Bryant a lot, because Kobe had that mindset of like, I want to be the greatest in every facet. So there we go. Wrapping it up. 5 things. I felt like this was valuable. If you guys felt like this was a valuable live session, comment down below. Tell me if you think you know exactly why this person left. I guess I didn't put the other one on there, which is the person just horrible at relationships. So there's 6. They just weren't a good candidate. Like one of my coaches say that I watch, you can't make good wine out of bad grapes. So was this person narcissistic? Was this person a sociopath or whatever? Were they just not a good candidate? But either way, you can always take that lens and put it back on you and ask yourself, what did I miss? And I can tell you that you probably didn't miss it. You probably just purposely chose to not acknowledge it, because you teach people how to treat you. And if they continuously draw a line, if you draw a line in the sand and they step over that line, you're like, you know what? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I'll draw another line. And then you keep doing it. Next thing you know, you're going to be off the beach and they're going to have the whole plot. So what did you miss? So if you found this video of any value, please like, comment, and share. Share this with anyone who you think it'll help. If you know people going through it, and I know a lot of my people that watch me, they don't want to reach out. They feel some type of way about putting their business out there in public, and that's okay. That's fine. I have a lot of people that just silently listen for, I've had people watching me. Some people say they've been around for 2 years. Like, wow, that was the beginning. I'm sorry for all the cringeworthy content that I put out there, but I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the community. You guys are always showing me so much love. Go take the test. Go take the ACEs Too High test. Figure out your stuff so you can go ahead and have the best relationship you can have in the future. Not only with someone else, but also with yourself. And I'm starting this new little deal at the end of my videos, which goes, when you go be love, you'll never have to find it. Namaste.